Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Furman Football Weekly with the head coach Clay Hendricks. Paladins coming off of the 28-14 win over the Citadel in the 103rd renewal of the most contested rivalry in the Southern Conference. Maintaining the number 4 ranking in the coaches poll, and we're still waiting on the media poll to come out. Joining Coach at the podium today are Callie Chiswick and Jake Johanning. As always, we'll ask Coach Clay Hendricks to make an opening statement, and then did we just get that in? Number 5 in the media poll, so 4 and 5 in the 2 major polls. Coach, make an opening statement, and we'll let Scott Keeler ask the first question.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dan. Again, appreciate you being here. First off, kudos to our fans. Man, we had I know, the largest crowd in a long, long time around here. Great crowd. That was awesome to see, and so excited for that and for our players. But, obviously happy to get a win, 2-0 in the conference. I think, I guess I should know this, I think there's only 2 teams now without a loss in our league, and it's that time of year where you gotta try to win, advance the next week, and see how much better you can play. But for the Citadel game, certainly disappointed. I think in our execution when we go back and look at it. I thought our kids played hard. I thought we had a good week of prep. Played a team that I knew. I think kind of a dangerous group that's willing to do anything at any time. And it creates some issues and stuff. And I think we managed that pretty well. With the fakes and the kick and stuff. Certainly we practiced, but we remain a team that has to do the common tasks uncommonly well. We didn't do them that way Saturday, and we left some. It was an odd game. Certainly didn't start very well on offense or defense. Kudos to our defense for after the first play pick. Came out and got a stop. Felt like we left a number of points on the board. Felt like we had a chance to put kind of the nail in the coffin a number of times and didn't do it. But ultimately, again, happy to get a win and get ready to go play a really good Sanford team this week. So, with that, any questions you may have?
Coach, one of the players that I wanted to ask you about, I didn't the other day, but going back and looking back at the game. Michael Robinson on the fake little funky field goal, I don't know if it's his man that got lost, but he didn't give up on the play and he made the tackle. It turned out to be huge.
Yep.
It seems like every week he makes a play like that. Can you speak to
Well, he does. And I'll say this, Micah didn't start Saturday. But I think Michael might have played one of his best games, and just kudos to him. Great job on special teams. That was not his man. Somebody was assigned to that guy. And something we'd practiced. The muddle huddle, we know it. We know the snapper's eligible. We practiced it. Our guy was right there, just didn't cover him. And again, I think that kind of summed up the day a little bit too. But I also say kudos to Micah getting him on the ground and our defense come back making a couple of huge plays, after that. But no, like I said, really, really proud of Micah. Really he and Ivan and Travis have played really good football for us. They'll continue and certainly be challenged in a little different way this week. But really proud of Micah.
Callie, can you talk a little bit about, first off, turn the ball over and then the defense is right back on and able to come up with a turnover. And you had 3 as a team in the first half there. Just talk a little bit about your interception and how the defense played in the first half.
It's a team game at the end of the day. I feel like I like to think that we pick each other up at the end of the game, offense, defense. The offense isn't doing what they need to do at that point in time. The defense picked them up, and then the defense isn't doing. The offense usually tries to pick them up. So, we were fortunate enough to let that be the case in the first half, and that was pretty much what happened. So,
Coach, looking at Sanford, the next opponent, they ran 87 plays on Saturday against Wofford, and I guess with the adjustments in the rules and teams are getting the ball for less plays, that's an incredible amount of plays. Can you speak to how difficult it is to face an offense like this one, off an offense that you just faced that was completely different?
Yeah, we are changing gears a little bit. I think for them and Coach Hatcher, he's done a phenomenal job everywhere he's ever been. Certainly there. I think it starts with their tempo, and you have to be able to adjust to their tempo, and they seem to kind of change things up a little bit. And with some personnel, some substitutions, maybe they don't substitute as much, which doesn't allow you to substitute as much. So I think that's something we'll have to work really hard at this week. And then I think just having a really, really veteran guy running the show. It would be one thing if the guy had played as much as he had. I think he was everybody's All-American at the start of the year, is having a good year. I think some people are trying to compare him to the year he had last year, which would be really hard to match, but he's been really, really productive. He's you say, well, we got to go after him. He's hard to get to. He gets rid of the ball. They do a good job up front. They run the ball well. So, it's a little bit of the pick your poison, and I think you got to continue to try to give him as many different looks as you can, just so maybe he doesn't get too comfortable. But it really is a challenge. Certainly you like to possess the ball. I've watched that game. Wofford probably struggled possessing the ball a little bit, which gives them even more opportunities. It's really kind of doing your job in all areas. Offense. You got to be productive when you get it. And you got to get chances when you get them off the field. You got to get them off the field and be great in the kicking game.
Jake, I've just been looking at the stats, and of course I've been following what Sanford's been doing, but they look like one of those teams that really doesn't care how long they have the ball. They're a big play. They have that you look at in their stats, but your team is one that having the ball and having field position can be a difference in the game. And in the offensive line, that probably makes this a pretty big week.
Yeah, I don't think any more so than any other week. Obviously you want to possess the ball as much as possible, and especially with this week, with the tempo going up, get the defense off the field for longer, being able to withstand drives, get those guys a break.
Jake, just curious as to how you're feeling now after getting 2 games under your belt, as far as everything from chemistry to just being comfortable, conditioning. How do you feel now?
I think the conditioning still needs a little work. I think those first 3 drives were probably the hardest 3 drives I've ever had. Physically, I feel fine. I feel good. And then you mentioned chemistry. I don't think that was ever an issue. I think we got a bunch of veterans up there, so I think it's pretty smooth sailing.
Jake, I don't mean to continue, but it seemed like after that first offensive play where they got tipped and intercepted and then Callie gets the ball back, it looked like you guys were blocking like angry. It looked like holes that I could get back to the line of scrimmage on. Can you just talk about what you did? And I think Dominic ran it 4 straight times for about 30 yards that next drive where you got on the board. Mm-hmm. Could you just kind of feel something in that drive where you got – was it a momentum boost with the interception and stuff? And
I think we just understood the urgency of the situation a little bit more. I don't think we want to change our demeanor based on the situation of the game, but it's kind of hard to do that knowing that you just screwed up and then you got to get out there and get it back right. So I don't think there was a conscious we're angry now, but maybe, I don't know.
And just to follow up, I looking back at the tape, Mayan Hicks had a heck of a block on one of the touchdowns. I think I can't remember which one, and then a couple weeks ago, I think Brock Chappelle had another similar block. What's it like as a lineman to see your other guys block the way you guys try to?
No, it's awesome. We can only do so much scheme wise with the 5 guys up front, and you're always going to have that need for an extra hat, for an extra defender coming in, whether it's a safety or a nickel or whatever. And so when you see Maya make a block like that and just lay that dude out, and obviously ends up being a big play, it's awesome. And I felt like at that moment in the game, that was a huge momentum shift, and I really thought we were going to stomp on them and take the game away from that point.
So both Jake and Callie, you guys have been here for a while, kind of going down the stretch a little bit. Any sense of urgency as you get into this final season to a certain extent? Jake, you can start.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Jack Barton yesterday, and he said it really hit him. We had a meeting yesterday, and Coach Vaughn said we have 6 weeks left, and that's it. You know, if we don't get the job done, 6 weeks and it's all over. So I think, yeah, there is a lot of urgency, and not obviously super happy with the way we played, but a lot of guys really willing to buckle down for this last stretch here and chase the ring like we came back to do.
Oh, for sure. I think there's a sense of urgency, just definitely knowing the slate of games we have ahead of us. But I think it's important too. We've all been kind of stressing this. A lot of the fifth years, we've got a ton of them on the team. Just taking one day at a time and understanding like how to live in the present and not look ahead, and enjoy the times, man. Enjoy the locker room, enjoy practice, enjoy everything about it, and let everything take care of itself. So,
Coach, what kind of challenges do you face with your team? Kind of piggybacking off that question, to keep the pressure off and keep the joy there.
Well, that's a good question. You know, I think we had a long meeting yesterday, and then even some of the players got involved a little bit with it. Just some things we got to do better, you know. And I think one of the things is just trying to encourage our players, you know, because it's not my team, it's their team, you know, and it's not Furman's team, it's their team. And just knowing the things, you know, if you want to do these things that we say we want to do, you know, like I said, we look back at the board over there, everything's on that board except that FBS game. That's the only thing that's not on that board. These are the things we have to do, and just having those guys understand that. And I think sometimes, you know, I've been, you know, we've talked about it as a staff, sometimes we have so many older guys and so many leaders that sometimes I don't know if they feel like they need to speak up. You know, and again, it's going back to holding each other accountable. I think our kids are playing hard. I know it's important to them. I think we're preparing, but there's some things we have to do better if we want to get where we want to be. And I don't know, I thought that game was a perfect example Saturday. It just, you know, I can just go through down the list of, you know, we had as many mental mistakes offensively as any team I can remember, any game I can remember hearing. It was simple stuff. Now, I better look at me first, you know, and offensive, we'll look at ourselves first. What do we ask these guys to do? But, you know, run reverse, we got 5 guys out there to block about 2, and one guy doesn't do what he's supposed to. It's a touchdown. We lost 18 yards on that play, you know, and, you know, Tyler will be the first one to tell you, we hit the post, the game's over. You know, I think he hits that 11 out of 10 times, you know, and you know, just little stuff like that, but it adds up. But again, where we are, you know, from a talent standpoint, and I'm careful to remind our guys, we have talent, we do have that, but we have to do those little things a lot better than we're doing them. And you know, I feel pretty good about how our kids will respond, and I think they realize it as well. And certainly be a fun one to go get ready to play this week. It'd be certainly a big challenge, but I think our kids are excited to go play.
I think it's 8 straight SoCon wins since the last Sanford game. And Cali, in particularly, when you're challenged as much, defense has 7 interceptions this far this year. There's probably going to be a lot of chance for some more. But how motivated are you personally, Cali, going into this game?
I'm not any more motivated than anyone else. I feel we all are at a good understanding of the motivation behind this game. We understand if you need motivation for this one, then this probably isn't the game for you. We know what happened last year, and we're excited to get this thing rolling, man. We need to practice a lot better, and we will this week, and we got a big challenge ahead of us. And I know the defensive backs, the defense, and the offense as well, we're all very excited for it. So,
Clay, when I talked to Justin on Thursday, the idea then was that Dom was probably only going to play in an emergency situation. You were going to try to hold him back a week. And yet he's out there at the beginning and ran really, really well. What changed? Did he lobby to play? What was the circumstances?
Probably a little bit of both. You know, he practiced Thursday, which is a lighter day, looked really good, said he felt really good. And so I really, you know, he wanted to play, and and so that's really kind of how it started. And he got out there and he started really well, and played really well. And I thought he looked really good yesterday. So he hadn't been 100% since probably the first series of the Kennesaw game. So I think he's about as close to that as he's been. Now certainly, I'll say this. Jaquan, really significant injury. Certainly out for the year. Going to be a long recovery. The injury that he had, and I hate that for him. For our team, but and so Mayan's done some really good stuff. We've had, we got 3 guys that we were counting on not playing right now at that position. Now that was maybe the deepest position on our football team at the start of the year, and that's why we tried to be deep at that position. It's a little bit of the nature of the position, and but Mayan there, Wayne Anderson, you may see Wayne in there a lot more. Certainly with his original position. Kind of excited what Wayne can bring to the table from an explosiveness, because I still think the thing, we go back a little bit offensively, it's just the explosive plays that we're either leaving out there and not creating, or things that we've got to continue to get better at. I think we've shown we're a pretty good grinding bunch, and but again, we don't want to play in a phone booth, and sometimes we feel like we are there a little bit, but as far as Dom, that was just simple as that. He got better and better as the week went on, and felt good. And again, felt good Sunday. So we're certainly better when he's part of our team.
Coach, you mentioned last week this was your 30th Citadel game, and have you ever had one before where you're up 28-0 in the third quarter and you win by 2 touchdowns and nobody seems that happy afterwards? And it just speaks to where you are, where this program is at now.
Well, again, I think I said this after the game. I think we all with this program, it's been that way, and I think we've gotten back to that point. We kind of feel like we got standards we got to uphold, and we didn't uphold the standards Saturday the way we played, and we're up 28-0, and really I think that's maybe we kicked it off. We said, okay, here's nail in the coffin, we'll go do it, and we didn't play very good defensively on drive. Then we get it back, and we still offensively. That's when I think we missed the throw, and. So it was just some things that I thought we did that we don't normally do, just some mistakes. And I'm all for giving the opponent credit, but you don't block a guy off the edge, he's got a chance to make a play, and make him beat the block, and we get, and I was talking about the middle mistake. Those times we didn't block the right guy, or we got 2 guys on 1 on the perimeter when we got 2 for 2, and so just. But yeah, I say it, we celebrate victories, and we celebrated. We did, but again, a little disappointed in certainly how we played. Again, I thought we prepped well. We just, at the end of the day, attention to detail and execution. That's really what it's about. We're doing the other stuff pretty good, but those are areas we just got to continue to get better at.
Callie, you've played a lot of football here at Furman, and I think almost from the start, you've come up with a lot of big plays in your career, going back to that Sanford game in 20 where you recovered a fumble in overtime to seal the deal. Last year, I recall the batted pass against Chattanooga that sealed that deal. You had 2 picks against Incarnate Word, in a big game, and then Saturday bailed us out with the read that pass better than the tight end trying to throw it to. I guess I could go on for about 30 minutes with some other big plays you've had in your career, which would probably be fine with you, but in the interest of time, what is it about you that, is it just your DNA to make big plays, but you've consistently stepped up making big plays over the course of your career?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, by the way. But no, I don't think it's personally me every single time. I think that a lot of times these coaches are putting us in great positions to make plays, probably more than the regular football watcher realizes. And these coaches do a great job of schematically putting us in the best position to make plays every single Saturday. So a lot of these plays, honestly, are that. Can't take credit for all of them. But, yeah, these coaches do a great job, again, week in, week out, grinding through the game plan, making sure we understand what the game plan is, making sure we understand tendencies of teams, and I do with that information what I can on Saturdays. So, yep.
Coach, does last year, I think I know the answer, does last year's game have anything to do with this year's game?
Well, it took a little longer for somebody to ask me about that, but I mean, they're defending conference champion, and I addressed first thing with our team yesterday. I addressed first thing the call, which was a terrible, terrible call. Should never happen, but we lost a football game a year ago because from that point on, they outplayed us, outcoached us. That's why we lost that football game. I do think that game. I think you saw a change in our team after that game. Tyler didn't play in that game, so I'm certainly excited to have him playing. I think we're certainly a better player, better team with him in there. But but they're defending conference champion, and they got a really good team. I know they went through a 5-hour delay in the locker room at Western Carolina. I think the game's 14-7. I can't imagine sitting up there for 5 hours in that situation. When they threw 2 pick sixes, maybe had 2 called back against Chattanooga. So I think you always read into scores, and then they lost to Auburn, so they got a really good team. 40 plus transfers on their roster. I think our guy counted told me this morning 42 was the number I think he told me. Defense just sorting through who they got. They did that a year ago. It worked out really well for them, and the changes. A lot of those guys are gone. They got a whole nother group in there, and you're trying to – some of the guys playing the same position with it's a different guy. It's got the same number, so trying to sort through it. So they've got talent. They've got good schemes on both sides of the ball. They do a good job coaching. But no, I just think, certainly we felt like, we were as good as anybody in our league a year ago. We didn't get it done in that game, and it cost us a conference championship. And nothing we can do about it. We'll learn from it. We'll watch that tape. I watched it. Golly, three fumbles. We lost one inside our 10, one on about our 30, and and still had lots of chances to get it done. But to say that one probably doesn't motivate us a little bit. Motivates me. I think it motivates any competitor, that wants to go play. And heck, we need to. This is all about this year. So certainly a huge game for us.
Looking at their stats, I think Michael Hires has been sacked. I'm guessing he has been sacked 18 times this year, and I think he's thrown 3 more interceptions. So without giving away anything, is there a more of an onus to put pressure? Because he does get rid of it quickly, like you said, but there is statistical evidence to prove that when you get pressure, he can make a mistake.
Yeah, I think, and we probably will. You go through and watch all those sacks. Okay, what happened? So I think each case, they're pretty veteran up front, big group, backs played forever. Really hurt us last year with the run game. We just didn't tackle the dive a couple of times, and gave up some big plays. I think we'll do what we've always done. I think we've done a pretty good job against them. When we've been successful, sometimes when we haven't been successful. And Coach Vaughn and his staff do a great job over there. And I think you have to mix it. You have to mix it and pick your times where you have a chance to go after him. And but I don't think you can wholesale anything against him because again, he recognizes things well. There's times you play coach. There's times you go after him. I think you'll continue. You hopefully take the run game away from them. Where it is an all-passing game, and so when they certainly will run it if you give them the opportunity to do that. He's mobile. He's not probably the running threat they've had at some times, with the guys back there. But I don't know what the magic formula is. But no, they've played some pretty good teams. That has something to do with it too.
I was sitting this weekend after the game and I'm watching the NFL, and I was looking at all the FCS boards and all the things, and of course the level of complete royalty that the Western teams have, where they Furman's overrated, everybody in the world is. They should all be in the top 5. and had someone who was asking about why they dominate, and I just said, well, Southern Conference was the best league, and so many people moved on. Appalachian, Marshall, Georgia Southern, and so there's a realignment that's going on. People pick up the slack, and it looks right now that there's a great deal of realignment. You're still there, but you have the same time the two rivals have declined and others have risen up. And so it seems like to me it's a very interesting league right now.
Well, you know, I think there are 5 really good teams in our league right now. I think there's certainly some teams going through transition. And yeah, I mean, if you still had all those teams that were in this league could you imagine if they were still playing, you know, in our league, you know, and I don't know how many years ago, I don't know what year it was that Dakotas got rolling a little bit, but, you know, in, 2000, well, the last time I think we were ranked 2006, you know, or as high as we have been, or 2004 or 5, where I thought we had the best team in the country both years. They were probably playing Division II. You know, I don't know. So there's lots of changes.
Well, one thing is they haven't moved up, and a bunch of teams.
Well, they haven't, and you know, big schools, big investments, you know, in their programs, and you know, think that doesn't make a difference. Absolutely, it does, and they certainly play good football. They do. There's a lot of people play good football everywhere, but I think right now there's, like I said, there's a number of teams in our league that I think line up with anybody toe to toe, and we'll see it. And you know, we're fixing to run the gamut here a little bit. You know, coming up, that's okay. Makes it fun too. I mean, we ran the gamut a little bit last year. I thought, you know, if 2 of those teams in our league had won the last game, they'd have both gotten in. You know, so I think they would have at least. You know, so again, we just got to control what we can control, and you know, certainly going to be challenged. You know, like I said, this week's the only one that matters, but it'll be an interesting next 6 weeks in the Southern Conference just to see what happens.
For both of the players, Coach just talked about talking to you about last year's Sanford game and how that probably should be some motivation. Other side of the coin, Sanford's already suffered 2 losses in the league, and they're playing for their possible playoff lives moving forward. So they're going to be motivated. You're motivated, they're motivated. At the end of the day, then, doesn't it go back to what Coach mentioned at the beginning of this? If you have to, in a sense, throw all that out and execute, do your jobs. Is that going to be the most important thing in this game? Callie, I'll start with you.
100%. I think motivation can only get a team so far at the end of the day. You got to go out and execute, exactly like you said. Doesn't really matter if you're not executing on Saturday. So, yeah, I think the biggest key to this weekend is going to be going out there, no matter how motivated we both are, and out-execute them and outplay them. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, same thing. Like you said in your question, once the ball is kicked off, motivation doesn't matter. It comes down to who plays better. It comes down to who does their job better, and who cares about it more in that moment. You know what I mean?
Coach, I just wanted to kind of go down. So, would you anticipate Dominic Mayan and Wayne Anderson being available on Saturday, and that's kind of your running back situation moving forward?
Yeah, I think that, and then Ben Crowsdale's a guy that's really kind of interesting. At some point we got to get Ben in there. Ben brings a little something to the table. So I think, again, probably the deepest room in our team. You know, one of the reasons we moved Wayne, you know, a year ago, and then we felt like, you know, maybe the other deepest spot on our team is wide receiver now. So it kind of gives us the ability to do that, and he's certainly a threat. So I think that's kind of what the plan will be. And Mayan's done some really good things. Certainly Wayne's a proven guy, you know, in the past. His ability to do that stuff he's done in the kick return game. So that'll kind of be the plan.
This is for either Callie or Jake. You guys have a lot of experience playing together, and he mentioned Sanford also has a lot of experience, but a lot of their guys, 42 of their guys are transfers. How much does it help? Do you draw upon the fact that you have the continuity, maybe in a game in a big moment? Does that give you a bit of confidence?
Yeah, I mean, like we were talking about earlier, Callie always finds a way to come up with a big play. So I know coming off a drive, I know somebody on that defense, one of these guys that I've known for so long, is going to find a way to come up with a big play. So yeah, it lets you play looser and just play faster, knowing that somebody's got your back.
Do we have any other questions,
Let me ask you,
Monty?
just looking at this, I was just going over the stats before sitting here 15 minutes before I got here. And so much on those stat sheets are very healthy. But one thing that probably would help a lot is big plays, is busting plays, long passes. Now, yeah, that's probably where you see number 82 Ryan last year. But breakaway, you're averaging 4.2 a carry. You're averaging, but busting plays is probably the number one. I don't know how you make that happen, but that needs to happen more.
Well, it's been a little bit of a frustration for us, offensively, and we missed. Like I said, I mean, golly, Tyler, he's made some big plays with the ball in his hands, and certainly been really good. He's completing he's almost 70% completion percentage. Certainly hitting those big ones. We missed 2 the other day. He was a little late throwing the one that we caught out of bounds. I think Mercer, we missed one early in the game. Missed Colton. Win a big one. Certainly like to hit those. I'd like to see us win some more one-on-ones with balls in our hands. I think we're blocking folks pretty good up front. Like I said, I think our guys are doing but just trying to get some of those explosive plays. Maybe getting something sometimes where we don't have everybody blocked, because there's not going to be a lot of times when everybody's blocked. But win a few more of those one-on-ones, and certainly Dom has the ability physically to break tackles and do some different things. But I think that's something we're continuing to, like I said, if we hit 2 of those, the other day, I think we felt a whole lot better about the game, and we had a number of them in the run game and in the pass game. I think we should make. So it's still, and we got talented guys. We're gonna keep plugging away at it and see if we can get a few more of those.
Coach, before we wrap it up for you, and then the players can address it if they want, just what it means to have the stands filled like they were on Saturday. I'm in my 13th year doing radio, and that's the biggest crowd we've had here since my first year back in 2011. I think it's only the second time we've gone over the 12,000 mark in home attendance during that time. What does that mean for the team, and does that get overplayed sometimes, or is it really as important as we like to think it is?
Well, I think it helps lots of things. I've certainly been around a long time. I can remember lots of days when it was much more like that on a weekly. I know our game has changed, television, all these different things, all these different other things that are going on. I know for me as a grad, as a guy that's been around a long time, it kind of warms your heart a little bit. Certainly, I think our kids have done phenomenal things and have I don't know, earned the right to get that support. And it's something you got to earn every week going forward. But I know for me personally, it's not like I'm paying a lot of attention, but it was pretty obvious to me. And I don't know, because I'm not ever looking to see how many folks are going to be at the game this week. I'm not ever even thinking about that. And then just to see the way it was the other day, I think that was pretty cool. Helps everybody, helps recruiting. We have a really strong. I'll be surprised, Dan, we don't have a really strong following this week in Birmingham. I think we will, but I don't know. These guys probably may have a little different take on it.
I mean, yeah, it's cool to see, but it doesn't win games. You know what I mean? Still got to go out there and play well.
Yeah, piggyback off of that a little bit. It is nice. It's awesome. We really appreciate, obviously, the campus and the buzz around Greenville coming to the games. We do appreciate the support a lot. Piggyback off of that a little bit, but he's right. It doesn't really win games at the end of the day. Still got to go out there and execute and do what we need to do to win the game. So. Well,
when you're calling the game and the headset, sometime you you can't really get a feel for it, but when I was cutting up the radio highlights and putting the package together today, it sounded like a college football game on those big plays. I mean, the crowd was really making noise, and I just wondered, you know, what you guys thought about that show out on Saturday.
Yeah, it doesn't, you know, and I think I get asked with a headset on, you're kind of, even we were in Columbia, sometimes that's just kind of, you don't really realize, you know, that situation. But no, it was certainly coming, you know, when we enter and leave the field, you know, pregame, you know, they've done a great job creating that little environment, that student tailgate. And I mean, you can just, I mean, that's going to be one of the first things you notice when I notice, because that's one of the first things you see, you know, when they're packed in there and have a great crowd. And we did Saturday, and we really appreciate it. And hopefully they'll return here, and it'll be a few weeks before we're back, but hopefully they'll be back. I think the next time we're here will be homecoming, so should have a great crowd then too.
Anything else from the group? Final thought?
No, just again, appreciate you being here. You know, decided to go have a great week of practice, which it'll take, and there's just a lot of things we got to be better at. And, again, I think our kids are committed to doing that. Excited to be, you know, again, be a huge challenge to go to Birmingham's place we've played well, you know, so we expect to go play well again. But again, it'll take a great week of prep and great Saturday of execution to have a chance to go get a win.
Well, it's a 1 o'clock kickoff, Furman time, down in Birmingham, which means, you can always watch the game if you can't make it. We invite you to do that, but turn the sound down and listen to the radio broadcast, which will begin with the Pepsi Countdown to Kickoff at 11:30 a.m. Furman time. And we will have that for you on the Fan Upstate, our flagship station, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app and odyssey.com. Coach Clay Hendricks, thank you. Callie Chiswick, Jake Johanning, thank you for joining us, and thank you for tuning in to another Furman Football Weekly with head coach Clay Hendricks. I'm Dan Scott, as always, saying God bless you. So long, everybody. This has been a Hunter Reed and Jeff Schetzel production.